Hi everybody, I hope you're all well, I hope you're all happy, I hope you're all healthy. My name is Sophie Parker. I am a Hebrew and Torah school teacher at Temple Emanu-El. If you don't know me, it has cleared up for just a moment here, and I thought it would be good to get some outside time, talk about Exodus, talk about the Torah, and get some fresh air. So, as we all know, Passover is coming up, which is very exciting. And even if we're having a virtual Passover, even if we are not even able to get to the grocery store to get matzah, there is still time to learn about Exodus and learn about the story of how our people were freed from Egypt. And it is so important that we do learn about that every year. It teaches us empathy, it teaches us gratefulness, right? So what I want to talk about in this little series I am starting here is about girl power in Exodus. And boys, you can watch it too. It is very important that you also know about girl power. We are really focused on Moses and Pharaoh during the Exodus story. And that's okay. They are the main characters, right? But Moses would not have survived, right? Let alone succeeded if it hadn't been for the women who came along in his life, right? They are super important to the freedom of the Jewish people. But we don't focus on it. And so I want you guys to know that there are some really, really cool ladies in Exodus who do some really cool stuff, especially for the time that they were living in, right? So the first two women I want to talk about are Shifra and Puah. And Shifra and Puah are midwives. So what are midwives? That's a good question. Midwives are people who help people give birth, right? So they are very smart. It's a very honorable job, and they help a lot of people in the process. So Shifra and Puah are midwives. And they are midwives who help Hebrew women give birth. Let's put them aside for a second. Now we have Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, he is scared that the Israelites, his slaves, there are way too many of them. And he's scared that if an enemy army comes in and they try to take the power away from Egypt, that the Israelites and their large population will join that enemy army and be able to overtake Egypt. So, Pharaoh devises a plan. And he goes up to Shifra and Puah, they're back, and he says, Shifra, Puah, when you are delivering an Israelite baby, if it is a boy, kill him, and if it is a girl, let her live, right? That's Pharaoh's first mistake, by disregarding the fact that women pose a major threat to him and pose a major threat to his power, just as much as the boys do. And we will learn that throughout the story of Exodus, that women are just as powerful as men and make just as big of an impact during this story, right? So Shifra and Puah actually refuse. They don't refuse to Pharaoh's face. They come up with a lie, right? They lie to Pharaoh, and more power to them, because if they told the truth to Pharaoh, we don't want to do it. Who knows what Pharaoh would do to them, right? So Shifra and Puah, they don't kill the Israelite baby boys. And they stand up to this tyrant, the Pharaoh, by not doing so. And they tell the Pharaoh, they say, oh, Pharaoh, we couldn't kill the babies because the Hebrew women, they're so fast, before we can even get there, they've already given birth to their babies, right? And seemingly Pharaoh is like, okay, whatever. So they could have put themselves at a huge risk, right? They saved a lot of baby boys. And they stood up to a tyrant who knows, God knows what Pharaoh would have done to these women if they had told him the truth, and said, you know, we don't want to, because Jewish people are humans too, and there is value to their life, right? Who knows what Pharaoh would have done to them. So God individually rewards both Shifra and Puah, and he establishes households for them. That's what the Torah says. And it is not often in the Torah that God will individually reward people. It's not often that, you know, a singular person or two singular people, Shifra and Puah, for example, would get rewarded individually by God. It is more that groups of people get rewarded or punished by God. For instance, the Israelites kept Shabbat, so God blessed the Israelites. This large group of people. It is very, very rare that individual people will get a blessing. And so I think that is really important and illustrates the impact and the importance of what Shifra and Puah did by recognizing the humanity, right? The humanity of the Hebrews. Recognizing that these babies, they're not threats, they're humans, and they don't deserve to die, regardless of what an all-powerful evil guy tells me to do, right? Regardless of whatever he tells me to do, people are people and they deserve to live. And God sees that, and God recognizes that, and God individually rewards Shifra and Puah. So that's really important. And so a lot of Israelite baby boys probably survived because of what Shifra and Puah did.